Okay, welcome everybody to my video. Today I'll be talking about the three main lifts called the squat, bench, and deadlift. I'm going to be explaining it in a way that I would be explaining it to another client that I would have, just explaining like the basic cues, correct technique, and I would also add some stuff that may have been doing wrong in some forms of technique, but stuff that we can fix it. I would also show planes of motion where all the lifts are taking place, and even the muscle groups that are performing the acts. So thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it's very informative for you guys. Starting with the squat, our first action is knee flexion. That's the bending of the knee. Next thing we have is knee extension, which is the knee going out and straight, locking it out. Next we have is hip flexion, and that is when our thighs come closer to our chest. Going lower is we have ankle plantar flexion, and that is like our toe pointing to the ground. Now we have ankle dorsiflexion, which is the exact opposite as plantar flexion, and with the toes pointing upwards. Now looking towards the muscles, the first thing we have are the quads, which is the front part of the thighs, the hamstrings, which are the back of the thighs, calves, which are the lower part of your leg, lower back, and your glutes, which are pretty much your butt. Now going into the actual lift, we have to make sure we position our hands evenly on the bar. Now grabbing firmly, we are going to be slipping right under the bar, placing the bar on the shelf of our two shoulder blades. There is an angled view from it. After slipping under, we're going to be shifting our hips forward, unracking the bar from the hooks. We're then going to take 3 comfortable steps back, one big one medium one, and then one to adjust our stance. The next thing we have is taking a big air, expanding our gut, as you can see here. And what this does is provide a rigid column for our core so everything is nice and tight. We are now going to take our descent nice and slow, just like this. From the side angle, you can see us stop right at here, 90 degrees. This is where we utilize the most strength potential that we have for our muscles. We are then going to engage all our muscles and start our ascent, going up. Here's the back view of it. We're going down, reaching the bottom, and going back up. There's a misconception where our toes are supposed to be pointing completely straight. It is totally acceptable to have their toes pointing slightly outwards, just like this. After finishing the lift, we're going to walk forward, placing the bar back on the hooks, dropping it down, and releasing away from the bar. Now we're going to look at some miscues that happen during the squat that's pretty common in novice lifters. What I'm showing you here is excessive knee valgus, and that is when our knees are actually going way too inwards while squatting down. Next thing we have is the half squat or quarter squat gang, where they do not use the full range of motion. A very dangerous one is too much hip flexion and not enough knee flexion. And over time, that may cause a lot of complications and a lot of stress on the lower back. Now we have our upper body lift, which is the bench press. We'll be targeting your pecs, which is your chest, your triceps, which is the back of your arm, and some use of our upper back. Our first movement is shoulder abduction, which is our arms going upwards towards the sky. Tricep extension, which actually locks out our elbows, as you can see here. Keep everything nice and tight. There is shoulder retraction, and that is pinching your shoulder blades together. First thing to do is to sit down on the bench and lay on back. We then want to place our eyes directly under the bar so we can have a perfect fit. For a balanced weight, we'll be grabbing the bar evenly at a slightly wider than shoulder width apart grip. We're then going to lift the weight off the rack and position it right over our shoulders with our arms straight. We want a perfect vertical line from the weight all the way down to the shoulders. We'll then lower the weight towards our nipple line, and once reached and touch the chest, we will then press the bar right back up. As you can see here, he's going nice and controlled, going down to the nipple line, straight back up. And as you can also see, his elbows are pointing towards a 45-degree angle. When completed, we're just going to swing the weight right back onto the rack and bring it back down to the hooks. There are some times where the elbows go a little bit too far out, flaring, which may cause shoulder impingement, or when the elbows come a little bit too close, where we cannot utilize as much strength. The bench press is a great upper body exercise, testing strength, endurance, and even works with hypertrophy with the chest, tricep, and shoulders. Last but not least is my favorite of all three of the lifts, is the deadlift. Deadlift encompasses hip extension, as you can see here where our torso is going back up and our legs going back, as well as knee extension, locking your knees out again. When performing the deadlift, we want to make sure we can use bumper plates or also using an Olympic platform, which may reduce the noise and overall contact with the ground. First, we're going to address the bar, walking right up to it. For our stance, we're going to make sure that our feet are right around hip width apart, not too wide or not too narrow. Also position the bar where it is right on top of the midline of the foot. Now we're going to reach on down, grabbing the bar, making sure we hold it right outside of our legs. With an even grip, we're going to be actually holding it with an over-under grip, where one hand is over and the other hand is under. We are then going to hunker down, having our hip joint in between our shoulder and our knee joint. To initiate the lift, we're going to engage our core, push through our legs, and drive up. We want to make sure we have a nice neutral back, not too arch or not too flat. Once we have the weight all the way up at a locked position, we're just going to reverse the motion and bring it all the way back down to the ground. As simple as this lift is, there's a whole lot of miscues that could happen that may interrupt and harm us actually. A real common one in a lot of novice lifters is the over-rounding of the back. And this may cause a lot of stress to the lower back. Another technique miscue is sitting too far back and actually having the chest too high up. And what this does is changes the center of gravity for the lift, making it a little bit more difficult. Another dangerous miscue is actually extending too far back, as you can see here, which may harm the lower back. There are some times when people are actually way too far from the bar, where it's right above the toes, or they are too close, where you could scrape your shins. This may be exaggerated, but you want to make sure you always hold the bar evenly. If not, you may cause muscle imbalances and lifting the weight will be harder. One more thing is using too much bicep, where it ends up looking like you're rowing it or in a way curling it. It may actually strain the bicep if a weight is too heavy. The deadlift is a great total body exercise. It is great for measuring max strength, and you will look like a beast every time you perform it correctly. I thank you everybody for watching my video. Hope for all the people who are beginning working out, please be safe. Hopefully this video was very informative for you guys, and for the advanced lifters out there, you know, if there's stuff that I missed or you think that stuff are wrong, please let me know. I'm very open for criticism, constructive criticism that is. Again, this is a video from my internship. I hope that my professors give me an A for this, and it's been great making this video. Very hard work put into it, but I know that it'll shine bright, and I feel like being in this profession for a couple years now, I know that there's still more to learn and there's still more to do, and I'm down with it, and I'll be ready for everything that the world throws me, and looks like it's about finished. So I'm gonna post this on YouTube, probably. I think I have to, but if not, Cool. Salutations, peace out, and see you next time.